They tell you to always be there, to forgive, to explain, to give chance after chance, hoping they'll finally see your worth. But what if that's exactly why they don't value you? Imagine your presence, your energy, your attention as a calm, steady ocean tide. Most people let their tide be always high, always available, always washing ashore. But Machiavelli would tell you people don't respect the tide that never recedes. They respect the one that can pull back. And when you pull back, not with anger, not with rage, but with quiet strength and clear purpose, everything changes. Because as Machiavelli said, it is better to be respected than to be merely liked if you cannot be both. And nothing creates respect like the person who shows they don't need anything from you anymore. You see, the reason they treat you like an option is because you keep proving you'll stay, no matter how you're treated. Chapter 1: The High Tide Trap. When constant presence drowns your value, you're always available, always explaining, always trying to make things work. This is like your tide always being high, and they've learned a dangerous lesson from that. No matter what I do, they won't leave. So they test you, they pull away, they disrespect, they seek out others, they try to make you react. And every time your tide stays high, you teach them their right to take you for granted. Let's be clear, they're not confused, they're not unsure, they're not just bad at talking. They know exactly what they're doing. They're training you. Every time you chase after them, every time you over-explain, every time you beg for clarity, they learn that they can hurt you and still keep you. They lose respect, but they keep control. But the moment you stop playing, the moment your tide starts to recede, the moment you don't show up to their emotional games, the moment you stop chasing a reply, now they become unsure, not of you, but of your distance. Because now you've broken the pattern. Now you've done the one thing they didn't expect. Your tide pulled back without warning, without drama, without giving them a show, just gone. And that, more than any argument, more than any apology, is what earns their respect. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote, "A ruler is also respected when he is clear in his friendships and his dislikes." In other words, be clear in your presence and unmistakable in your absence. If these strategies for controlling your emotional tide are making you rethink how you interact, you're on the path to true influence. Hit that like button now to support this content, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into mastering your personal power. Your support helps us share this crucial wisdom. Chapter 2: The Receding Tide, Making Your Absence Heard. No one fears someone who always clings. No one respects someone who begs. They respect distance. They respect boundaries enforced without words. They respect the tide that says nothing and never returns to its old level. Let me show you how this plays out. Imagine someone treats you badly, makes fun of you, uses you, lies to you, then stops talking to you. Your first thought might be to send a long message, an explanation showing all your feelings. And they might reply with, "Lo, you okay?" Or "Why are you being so dramatic?" You just gave them more power. They weren't looking for friendship, they were looking for proof that you're still emotionally available. Now flip it. They disrespect you. They cross the line, and your tide simply recedes. You don't reply, you don't get angry, you don't try to fix it, you just step back. Suddenly, they feel unsure. They send messages like, "Are we good? You're really not going to talk to me? Wow, I didn't think you'd actually leave." Now the power has shifted, not because you won a fight, but because you refuse to compete. That's the Machiavellian move. Don't fight, just exit. Let them shout into the quiet space. Because silence is not absence. Silence is strategy. It's how you take back the ground you lost, while always trying to please them. And let me tell you something difficult, but freeing. They only start truly respecting you the moment they lose easy access to you. You don't need to punish them. You don't need revenge. You don't need to teach them a lesson. You just need to disappear in such a way that your absence becomes the loudest sound in their world. They won't hear your words. They'll hear your absence. They'll replay your quietness. They'll rethink your last interaction. They'll check your online presence, looking for signs of anger or forgiveness. But there will be none, because you've walked away, not from them, but towards yourself. Chapter 3. The Shoreline Secrets, What They See in Your Absence. Here's the hard truth. They never truly believed you'd leave. They believed your tide would always bend, break, or stay high. Because you've always been the one to care more, the one to reach out first, the one to smooth over any problems. But when you pull back, without giving them a bad guy to blame, without giving them a clear ending, without giving them the fight they want, you become a mirror. And in that mirror, they see their own weakness, their own manipulation, their own emotional dependence. And that's what truly haunts them. Not your anger, not your pain, but your lack of reaction. Machiavelli understood that most people only learn through loss, not through understanding or talking, but through impact. He wrote, "It is necessary for a leader to learn how not to be good." It sounds harsh, but it's true. Because being endlessly available and forgiving in the face of disrespect isn't strength, it's giving up your own power. There's nothing truly strong about loving someone who only respects distance. You're not loyal, you're just afraid to step back. Let's talk about what pulling back truly means. It doesn't mean blocking them in anger. It doesn't mean posting vague messages online. It doesn't mean pretending you don't care while secretly watching their every move. Pulling back is an inner shift. You stop explaining yourself. You stop making excuses for their behavior. You stop telling yourself, they'll change soon. And you accept that they won't change, because they never had to. You were doing all the emotional work. You were carrying the connection. You were paying the price alone. Pulling back means you finally stop fueling the problem. And the result? They begin to feel the shift. At first, it's small. A quick message from them, a small compliment out of nowhere. They'll pretend it's casual, but it's not. They're testing the waters, hoping. Because you've become rare, and what's rare becomes valued. But only after it's gone. Now here's what you'll feel tempted to do. Reply, explain, show them what they lost. But don't. Because the second you engage, you confirm one thing. They still have easy access to your emotions, and people don't respect what they can access whenever they want. They respect what they had to earn and couldn't keep. Chapter 4. The Unreturning Tide, Your Final Mark. The people who truly loved you would have changed their behavior when you were still there. But the ones who only respected you after your tide pulled back, they never valued your presence. They only feared your absence. And that's not love. That's fear of losing control. They don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that felt powerful while your tide was high. Machiavelli would have called your silence a strategic move. Not petty, not emotional, but very smart. You are no longer reacting. You are no longer proving. You are no longer trying to earn your worth. Now you are governing your own space. And your first act of power was to pull back without needing to be chased. And now you're not the one desperately wanting something. You're the mystery, the distance, the quiet strength they can't figure out. That's what truly affects them. Not your anger, but the calm reason behind your absence. Here's what you'll notice next. People will start to copy your distance. They'll pretend they don't care either. They'll act unaffected. They'll try to show the same calm energy, but it's fake. Because when someone truly doesn't care, they move on. But when someone pretends they don't care, they watch everything you do, every message you send, every quiet moment, every sign of your peace. Because deep down, they're hoping for you to make a mistake. They're hoping for the old version of your tide to come back. The version that ignored its own limits, just to keep the connection alive. But that version of you disappeared the day you pulled back. Machiavelli said, "The first way to judge a leader's intelligence is to look at the people around him. Look around you. Who did you let stay? Who did you keep explaining yourself to? Who did you tolerate? That's not their fault. That's on you. But not anymore. Pulling back isn't just about others. It's about what you're no longer willing to accept from yourself. No more proving. No more fixing. No more showing vulnerability for people who will use it against you. You've upgraded from being always emotionally available to being emotionally untouchable. And the best part? You're not bitter, you're not angry. You're not even guarding your heart in a painful way. You've simply remembered, if they only respect you when your tide pulls back, then they never deserve to stand on your shoreline. And you're done making space for people who only recognize your value after your absence becomes too much to bear. Here's a final truth you need to feel deeply. You never had to shout to be heard. You never had to prove your worth. You never had to exhaust yourself just to be seen. The right people would have never asked that of you. They would have respected you from the start. They would have changed their behavior while you were still there. They would have apologized without being forced. They would have valued you before your absence. But they didn't. So now, they don't get to access the stronger version of you. The calm version, the peaceful one, the one who doesn't need a final talk, because you've already closed that door yourself. You're not heartless, you're not cold, you're clear. And clarity looks like distance. To people who are emotionally immature, it feels like rejection, but it's not. It's taking back control. Because the second you pull back, you stop waiting to be chosen. You stop hoping to be seen. You stop watering dry land that was never meant to grow anything but regret. Now, you're not chasing love, you're attracting respect through your quiet strength. Let them talk, let them wonder, let them rewrite the story. You've already moved to the next chapter. You're not the villain, you're not the hero, you're the lesson. And the ones who fail to learn it, they'll meet you again in someone else who walks faster, quieter, sooner. This is the law of power. When your tide pulls back, they will either rise to meet your new level or watch you vanish into a strength they can no longer reach. Either way, you win. Here's how to ensure your transformation continues. Hit the like button if this deep dive into Machiavellian wisdom has helped you understand the power of strategic absence. Your support helps share these vital lessons. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Your journey to mastering unseen influence and becoming a master of the calm tide begins now. I'll see you in the next build.